So, Ineos's transfer plans have been revealed, and sources suggest a lot of money will be invested in the summer in a big Man United rebuild. But who are the players that are likely to stay, likely to go? What is the latest on the Elise deal? Manchester United received 20 million for Hannibal should his loan go through, and Ineos said you must insert a buyback clause, among more. And then we're going to dive into 5 things we learned from Manchester United to Spurs 2, talking about set pieces, talking about what Martinez gave us, Højlund gave us, what we needed from Onana, what we needed from Eriksen that they didn't give us, and more. But do hit that like button, do subscribe if you're new. Let's get into the transfer news part of the video, because I think this story was particularly interesting. So, interestingly, it came out saying Manchester United's plans under Ratcliffe, and they've set out their priorities, is to sign a top-class forward that's a similar level to Harry Kane, and number 8, a centre-back, a right-back, and Jad Branthwaite and Todbo are those who are admired as centre-back. Now, personally, I think this is interesting because I think, well, one, Dan Ashworth or whoever it is hasn't come in yet, so how have Man United set out their transfer priorities? 2, we don't know who's going to replace Tenag if Tenag's going to be here. But 3, where's the right winger? Should we have 2 centre-backs? Shouldn't we have a 6/8 hybrid, because Kobbie Mainoo's a natural 8, not a natural 6, and Casemiro's wanting to be moved on? So I do look at this and go, is this guy just writing a report for clicks, or has he got some information in? Because I think that Wan-Bissaka could leave and we might want a right-back, and I know that we want a centre-back, and I know that we want a 6/8 hybrid, but we just saw Mason Mount's playing 8. Do you know what I mean? I know Eriksen will probably go, and a top-class forward who is at a similar level to Kane. Well, we just got Rasmus Højlund in for 72 million. Manchester United just want another forward that's going to help Rasmus Højlund and surely a right winger in. While I am a big fan of Todbo and Branthwaite, the centre-back options, he's saying that, our 4 options include these players, which doesn't include right wing, which we know is a priority. In more detail, he said at centre-back, Everton's Jared Branthwaite and Nice's Jean-Claude Todbo are admired, although many Premier League clubs are also targeting the defensive duo, which could make it a bit more difficult. We know a lot of people in for Todbo, but with our relations to Nice, it could be easier. It said most of the players being targeted will be difficult to sign in January and bring in players this month. Man United need to sell first to ensure they stay within Premier League spending rules. So he's kind of said a lot of the players want to sign will be very difficult to bring in January. And obviously because of FFP, this and that, because FFP applies to everyone but Man City and Chelsea at this rate, we can't really bring anyone in unless we sell. However, have we sold? We're going to dive into that in a second, because we might be getting 20 million for Hannibal. But it was said in terms of what Man United's plans were from Mark Ogden. He said that Man United have discussed a summer move for Michael Elise, which would see Aaron Wan-Bissaka returning to Crystal Palace as any part of the deal. The decision to activate the 12-month extension in Aaron Wan-Bissaka's contract was taken purely to enable Man United to raise funds by offloading him this summer. Liverpool and Chelsea are also interested in Michael Elise, but Manchester United's readiness to part ways with Wan-Bissaka as part of the deal could be persuasive for Crystal Palace. So this was another interesting report coming out. Now, I like Wan-Bissaka, and I'm happy to keep Wan-Bissaka as a second right-back. I think as a backup right-back, you can't get better than Wan-Bissaka because he can sort of defend in any game state. But Tenag only wants to keep one of the right-backs and then replace them with a better one. And it seems that Tenag prefers Delot, so Wan-Bissaka will likely go, and maybe a Frimpong will come in and Delot will be the second choice. I think Wan-Bissaka is always the best second choice right-back to have because he offers something different and so unique to other players. And we know Crystal Palace are a big fan of Wan-Bissaka, and maybe that could get us 20 million off the Elise deal. Maybe we could get Elise for 30 million plus Wan-Bissaka. I think would be a decent business there. A lot of people are interested in Elise. I think United will keep an eye on how his season goes, how injury goes. But I wouldn't be surprised if Wan-Bissaka left and we went in for Elise. It was also said that Man United's interested in Michael Elise is not a university supporter within the club. Some members of the recruitment team expressed reservations following the failure of Wan-Bissaka and Saha, who made the transition from Palace to United. I don't think it's that deep, to be honest. I think that it was just more poor scouting and actually looking at the way that we wanted to play. Don't think I think if we are sure on Elise and we bring in a Dan Ashworth or Paul Mitchell and a lot of people that are sure on Elise, the manager's sure on Elise, and we're sure he fits our style of play, I think he's worth the money. It was also said by TalkSport that Man United would be open to a swap deal in order to sign Elise. That deal could see Wan-Bissaka heading back to his boyhood club. So a lot of sources coming out today with information of Wan-Bissaka leaving and Elise going back to his club. Now, diving into other news and information, this was a big story. Fabrizio Romano said that Hannibal Mejbri is on his way to medical tests with Sevilla as a loan deal with a 20 million buy option, which was signed today. I think I would have liked to have got at least 25 million euros personally myself, but it is Manchester United. But after the initial verbal agreement with Man United, Ineos requested for a potential buyback clause in order to give their approval to the deal last night. And what I love is Ineos is saying, no, we're going to put a buyback clause in this. We're going to put a buyback clause in this. Because Hannibal Mejbri, selling him for 25 million, which we're selling him for 20, I would have sold him for 25 at least. Selling him for 25 million, it's not the end of the world, but he has the potential to be a 50, 60 million player. So it's really important that we insert a buyback clause in and we stop letting people sign our talented young players on the cheapest deals ever. Now, I wanted to just get through that transfer news very, very quickly. I will get into the takeover news in my live stream later tonight, but I wanted to dive into a few other stories, and that is the 5 things we've learned from the game. Starting with the first thing we learned from Manchester United to Tottenham Till is that we don't need to worry about Rasmus Højlund. A lot of question marks have been surrounded around Rasmus Højlund. 0 goals in his first 14 games in the Premier League wasn't good, but he was getting 0 service. A lot of people have been questioning him, but we saw in the Champions League, what did he get? 6 goals in 5 games or 6 games. He was immense in the Champions League. He's got 2 goals in his last 2 Premier League games. He got an assist as well. Rasmus Højlund was incredible yesterday. He looked like Champions League Rasmus Højlund. He only got 1 real chance and Bosch in the back of the net. I think that was the only shot he had. I think that there's a very good player in Rasmus Højlund. People forget this guy is 20. This guy is younger than Cole Palmer. This guy is younger than a lot of players that people don't realise. He's 3 years younger than Saka, 2 years younger than Martinelli. He'll be a year and a half younger than Cole Palmer. People don't realise that how young this guy is. He's actually a year older than Garnacho. He's younger than Amad Diallo. He's 2-3 years younger than Pellistri. And he's very good. I think he could turn into a great player. I think he makes great runs. I think his link-up play was good. I think his hold-up play is good. I think he's a good finisher. I'm not worried about Rasmus Højlund in the slightest. He's raw, he's young, he needs a bit of help. He's going to have rough games, but there's a good player to be moulded there. The second thing we learned is Lisandro Martinez is quality. When Lisandro Martinez came on, I know we weren't great in the game, but you could just see that this guy was just had it. And him in possession was just so smooth. Every time he got the ball, he sort of started to move the ball forward and he would play the ball forward. He would always pass the ball forward. He can produce those line-breaking passes that we couldn't do. But he uses his body to disguise the ball so it looks like he's going to pass back to Onana and then he just glides past the defender and plays the ball forward. He helps United get the ball moving up the pitch and he's a massive player to have back. He's going to help him build up. He's going to help in all-round play. He's integral to the way that Ten Hag wants to play. Our over-reliance on him is absolutely crazy. But with Martinez, Varane and Casemiro sort of coming back into the squad for the rest of the Premier League games, hopefully Manchester United can build up something here. Those are the core players in the team. Those are the players that are super important at Manchester United. Hopefully we can build up. Going into the third thing we learned is that Ineos have got to sack Eric Ramsey. This is 3 seasons of us being crap at set pieces, but this was a statistic from the game. Set pieces, 0.47 of Spurs' XG was from open play, 0.89 was from set pieces. We don't score from set pieces and we can't defend set pieces. And we were crap at set pieces last season. We were crap at set pieces the season before. Yes, not having Maguire in the box doesn't help. Yes, when McTominay's in the box, we look a little bit better from set pieces and he didn't start. Yes, maybe Mason Mount is probably the best deliverer when it comes to set pieces and he's not fit. But it's like, no, what are we doing from set pieces? Our awareness is crap. And Ineos need to sack Eric Ramsey. He's been here 3 seasons. He's not been good enough. I know that these players are hard to coach and it's not always the coach's fault, but I don't see anything from set pieces that makes me think we've got better in the last 3 years. I think we've got worse. We don't score from them. The fourth thing and the most worrying thing was, although it was a 2-2 draw, it almost felt like a loss because of the lack of identity from Ten Hag. It felt like, we could see what Ange's trying to do, and he didn't have Kulu, he didn't have Son, he didn't have Maddison, he didn't have Basuma, he didn't have Sarr, and he had 5 key players missing. His midfield 3 that went on that 10-game unbeaten run, his best midfield 3, well, Benton probably gets on that now, but his best midfield 3 at the start of the season was gone. There was no Son, there was no Kulu, and Spurs were playing good football. You could see the identity. You could see that Porro and Udogie were inverted. You could see that this was Ange's ball at times. You could see what they were trying to do and they were still playing Ange's way despite all the injuries. But Ten Hag, we didn't know what United were trying to do. Hit, hope long, hope Rashford does something. Get Rashford in a large space, hope he does something. Where's the patterns of play? Where's the build-up? Where's the triangles? If you looked at the passing structure, which I showed you in my live stream yesterday, you can see where's the pattern? Where's the identity? What's the plan? And I think when Ange's been here 6 months and Ten Hag's been here 21 months, and it is worrying. Some people say, well, look, Ten Hag's just playing this to get results in the short term. And I guess we did get a result. We did get a point today. but we're now getting the bulk of our squad back. I need to see progress between now and the end of the season. I need to see progress from Ten Hag. I want Ten Hag to do well. I am not Ten Hag out, but if I don't see progress between now and the end of the season, I will be Ten Hag out. Fifth and final issue is player issues. And this is where I have a bit of sympathy for Ten Hag, because I feel like he couldn't have started Casemiro today because it would have been rushing him back. And it was Eriksen and McTominay to go in midfield alongside Nano. And he went with Eriksen, which is the right decision because Spurs might have played a high line, and in possession, Eriksen can give us that calmness to play it over. But because Eriksen isn't good enough out possession, isn't running and covering the ground and covering the markers, it meant that Spurs had more of the ball in possession and Eriksen was struggling out of possession to cover the ground. He was losing his runners in midfield, which resulted in the second goal. I think another issue I picked up that needs to be coached is Onana needs to come off his line and claim more crosses. Weirdly, Onana has claimed more crosses already this season than De Gea did the whole of last season. But De Gea was really weak at claiming crosses. And Onana's not looked much better, but he has been statistically a little bit better. But he needs to come off his line and claim crosses because I think that doesn't help from set pieces. And then I also think McTominay and Antony coming on as substitutes and absolutely offering nothing, other than a header at the end from McTominay, but he doesn't score that. So he's offered nothing. Antony's offered nothing. I mean, look, I guess Casemiro could have come on. Maybe you could have brought Pellistri on. I know the options aren't the best on the bench, but if we've got a lot of players that add nothing, that need to stop playing. Eriksen's not good enough out of possession, needs to be moved on, and we need to coach Onana to claim his crosses. That is 5 things we learned from Manchester United 2, Tottenham 2, as well as a Manchester United news update. I'm going to get into some more interesting stories tonight in my live stream at 6 p.m. So make sure you're subscribed for the latest on Ratcliffe, his plans, but also a big money investment coming in United, some Benzema rumours, which I don't think will happen, among more. Thank you for watching.